I'll confess, I swing both ways. I like dogs just as much as I like cats. But when it comes to traveling, let me have a cat as a companion. That they have this adventurous spirit and they bring that, well, they don't just bring it. Cats have this way of taking a mundane, everyday flight and turning it into a real adventure. Like that time I was traveling back to the States after being in Germany for 13 years. I'd gotten a job in Army Cyber, and I was going to go over there and take this promotion. This is the big time for me. Getting the job was really hard. I had all these interviews. I had to have a background investigation. And there's clearances like, oh my gosh. And I have to be on my very best behavior. I can't do anything wrong or they're going to kick me out. So I'm traveling back. I'm excited and I'm nervous. So I got a window seat. We've had dinner. So we turn the lights down so people can stretch out and take a sleep. I close the window. I've got my commercial airline standard issue blue blanket and those little miniature pillows. And I kind of get situated and I said, you know what? I'm going to give Buddy a little scritch behind the ear. So I reach down and I open up his little kennel down there and I give a little scritch behind the ears. Now, Buddy, he's an orange cream Persian, which means no tiger stripes. He's just this orange cat with long hair. He has a white chin and two white paws, but he's been shaved. So he's got the mane, and then the rest of his body's shaved off until you get to the end of his tail where there's a poof, and he literally looks like a miniature lion. So he's just tucked down in there, and I've had Buddy for a long time. He's been with me since he was born. I was there when he was born. And he's a great traveling companion. He is a sniffer of all things. He will sniff, sniff, sniff until there's nothing left to sniff. He's a great sniffer. And he's adventurous like me. So I curl up to get some sleep, and I must have. I usually don't sleep on a plane, but I must have because I woke up. When I woke up, the whole cabin, it was dark and everybody was asleep. And I thought, this is the perfect time to give Buddy some love. So I reached down. Buddy's not there. The zipper's open, the kennel's empty, and there's no cat anywhere. There's no cat. The first thing that comes to my mind are those pictures that the movies, the air disaster movies from Hollywood, where there's like the oxygen mask hang down and the wires and sparks flying and smoke everywhere, people screaming, just, total mayhem. This could happen. Buddy is a sniffer and Buddy has a wet nose. And if you're at 30,000 feet on a plane and you've kicked off your socks and shoes and you're sleeping, you are not expecting that. And I do not need this, because what follows that is people screaming, mayhem, and FAA fines, which are not $500 traffic fines. They are like $500,000 fines. I do not have the money for this. And I do not want my first conversation with my general on Monday when I report to work to be my last conversation with my general on Monday morning. I have to get this cat, have to get him back. I have to get him lickety split without getting anybody involved. I can't wake up anybody, and I got to do this fast before anybody does wake up. Luckily, the seat next to me is empty. So I channel Tom Cruise and I get up in that seat and I hold up onto that overhead compartment, and the guy in the aisle seat, he's out, So I step up onto one of the armrests and then onto the other, and I'm holding myself up and I'm leaning over him, and then he starts to move, and I thought, this isn't Tom Cruise. This is Leslie Nielsen. And I quickly jump down into the aisle. I'm in the middle of the plane. Where's Buddy gone? Is he gone aft or forward? Or did he go across? How long was I asleep and how long has he been out? Oh, I just breathe. Well, behind me, 2 rows is a bunch of toilets. And I really don't think that's Buddy's deal. That's not for Buddy. But Buddy could possibly head up to first class. That's where they got the fancy feast. So I'm following that idea. I'm going to look every direction, but I'm going to head that way. So I'm on my hands and knees crawling down the aisle. Everybody around me is still asleep, thank goodness. No stewards in sight so far. And I'm looking at everything. There is so much stuff under those seats. There are handbags that have fallen down and things are strewn, falling out all over the place. There are food containers and wrappers and soda cans and those little plastic cups that they give you. And then, of course, socks and shoes, which means there's going to be bare feet. And there's a buddy nose out there somewhere. So I'm crawling along, and then I think, let me think like Buddy thinks. Now, this is Buddy. I've been with Buddy for a long time. Buddy is a sniffer. So my thoughts, Buddy's thoughts are, I woke up. That zipper wasn't closed, so I'm going to go follow my nose. Let me see. I smell something. Toes. I'm going to go find me some toes. What's this? Ooh, what's that? No, Buddy. No. You're not going to sniff somebody's toes. So I figure he's sniffing his way along, and I'm getting pretty far up there, so I stop for a second. He's probably not making real fast progress. Then just to my left, there's a movement. Just to one side of a dangling corner of a blanket, there's a little white paw moving. Ha! I found the cat, but I can't reach him yet. He's too far over. So I sit real quiet because you don't want to spook that cat. If he spooks and goes the other way, I'm really in trouble. How would I get him? So I just sit quietly. And then suddenly this blanket that's hanging there right next to these empty pair of shoes and a pair of socks starts to lift up. And I'm like, okay, that's a face. That's a bright orange face right next to that blue blanket. Come here, Buddy. Here, kitty. And I can just barely reach him, and I grab him and real carefully, real slow, because I don't want claws engaged at this point. And I get him over to me, and I'm pushing this handbag back underneath as I'm pulling him up, and I cuddle him close. I don't want anybody to see him. If somebody's woken up at this point in time, or a steward comes by, if they don't see him, nothing happened, right? So I go back to my seat, and that guy's still asleep, and I'm able to get up over him. That was a trick, let me tell you. And I get Buddy back in his kennel, and I zip it shut, and I hang on to it, and I can breathe. I still swing both ways. I still like dogs. But hadn't been a dog in that kennel, he'd have jumped up in my lap, licked me in the face, and it would have been over. Having a cat along as a travel companion, Buddy turned that flight into a real adventure. So when it comes to traveling companions, cats rule and dogs drool.